Hello guys, welcome to the session. This is a mock Vita question which was asked during the previous week. The question which we'll be dealing today is television sets problem. Okay, as usual, take a look at the question, pause the video if you want to, try to understand the question as much as possible. Okay, so let me explain the question to you anyway. Dr. Vishnu is opening a new world-class hospital in a small town designed to be the first preference of patients in the city. So all the patients will have this hospital as their first preference. Okay. Now hospital has n rooms. The n value will be given as input. So hospital has n rooms of two types. What are the two types? With TV and without TV. Some rooms will have a TV and some rooms will not have a TV. Okay, and their daily rates are R1 and R2 respectively. So with the TV the cost is R1. Without a TV the cost is R2. Okay. Okay. Look at the next thing they are telling you here. Uh, However, from his experience, Dr. Vishnu knows that number of patients is not constant. So every day the number of patients will change and it follows a pattern. The pattern is like the number of patients on any day is given by the formula, this formula. Okay, we'll come back to this point guys. Before that, let us finish the data about rooms. What do we know about rooms? We have n rooms in the hospital. They with the TV and without a TV, their rate is R1 and R2. Okay. Now next paragraph is also about rooms. Look at the next paragraph. All patients prefer without TV rooms as they are cheaper. Okay. Without TV rooms are cheaper, which means R2 is lesser. Since R2 is lesser, they will opt for without TV rooms only. But if the without TV rooms are not available, if without TV rooms are not available, then they will opt for with TV rooms. I hope the concept is clear. You have a set of rooms, some with TV and some without TV. First, without TV rooms will be filled up, followed by that, rooms with the TV will be filled up. Okay, so hospital has a revenue target for the first year of operation. Okay, you should achieve a target. So given the target and the values of n, r1 and r2, you need to identify the number of TVs the hospital should buy so that it meets the revenue target. So try to understand as much as possible. I am going to give you further explanation on all these lines. Okay, so here you are supposed to meet the revenue target. That is our ultimate aim. Okay. So how many TVs should we buy so that our target will be achieved? Okay. Now you take a look at just the important points of the problem. What are the important points? Hospital has some set of rooms, yes, with the TV and without TV, and you know their rate. Rate will be R1 and R2, and their preference. What is the preference of patients? Patients prefer rooms without TV, but if it is filled up, they'll go to rooms with the TV. Yes, so patients prefer without TV rooms but will opt for with the TV rooms if every other room is full. Okay. Now you are given a revenue target and you should meet that target at the end of 1 year. This is the data we have. You have to meet the target at the end of 1 year. So how many TV rooms should be present so that we can meet this target? That is your question. Alright. So now there is one part which we skipped in the problem, which is this one, right? What are they telling you? The number of patients on any given day is calculated using this formula. What is the formula? 6 minus m the whole square plus d minus 50. This m is nothing but number of month. Okay, if it is January, substitute 1. If it is February, substitute 2. And D is nothing but the corresponding date. Okay, whichever date you are considering, substitute that date instead of D. So this is the formula. What does this formula tell you? Number of patients during that particular date. Okay. We'll note it down. The number of patients at any particular day is calculated with the formula 6 minus m square plus absolute value of d minus 50. I think you'll be familiar with absolute value. Absolute value means even if you get a negative value, you will take only the magnitude. Okay, you will take only the value, not the sign. Okay, that is absolute. So this is our question. All the 5 points that we have here is the entire question. You have rooms with TV, without TV. They have a particular rate. Patients have a particular preference. You have a target to be met. So how many TVs should you have so that you'll meet the target? That is our question. Okay. Now consider an example. Yes, let me just consider some sample data to work with. Once we understand the sample data, we'll be able to work on the problem. Okay. Yes. So here, consider the hospital contains 20 rooms. N value is 20. Okay. And the rate is given. Right. Consider cost of rooms with TV is 2000. With the TV cost is nothing but R1. R1 is 2000. And assume without TV is 1000. So without TV, R2 is 1000. Okay. Next, what are the other things you will have to know from the question? You should know the target. Yes. So let me assume target to be achieved is 20 lakhs. Okay. Assume target to be achieved is 20 lakhs. This is the input data. These are your input data. Clear? Now, how many TV should we buy so as to achieve the target? So this how many TV? The answer to this will be our output. Okay. So I hope I made it clear. Input set and how many TVs is going to be your output. Yes. Now to understand the problem, guys, I'm not going to consider an entire year. Okay. First we'll see how it works for one day. After assuming how it works for one day, we'll be able to convert it for the entire year. Yes. Because one year is made up of 365 days. Right. So let us calculate for one day, then we'll do the same thing for 365 days. Okay. Okay. So now, so here target is met for an year only, but we are going to consider one day. Yes, consider the target for one day instead of 1 year. This is just assumption to show you how the problem works. Yes, in the question they are asking for 1 year. In the problem to explain alone, I will take it for one day. Okay, assume that day is August 31st. Yes, assume the target should be achieved on August 31st is 23,500. Clear? The target to be achieved on August 31st is 23,500. Okay. Instead of an year, we are going to work with one day only. Which day? August 31st. And the target is 23,500. Yes. Okay. Now, first question that we need to solve is how many patients will arrive on August 31st? Because as you recollect, in the question they told you number of patients is not going to be constant. Yes, the number of patients will depend on a formula, right? What is the formula? Number of patients on August 31st can be calculated by 6 minus m the whole square plus absolute value of d minus 50. This is the formula, right? In this scenario, we are dealing with the date August 31st. So, what is going to be the month value? For August, month value is 8. And date, what is the D value? D value is 31. Substitute both the values in the equation. Okay. 6 minus 8 the whole square plus absolute value of 31 minus 15. Okay. Solve the equation 2 square plus 16, which is 4 plus 16. So your answer will be 20. What is this 20? This 20 is nothing but number of patients that arrive on August 31st. Clear? So on August 31st, we will be having 20 patients. Yes. So with these 20 patients, we are going to do the calculation. Clear? Yes. Okay. Okay. So recollect the data which we have now. We know that we have 20 rooms. Some of the rooms are without TV. Some of the rooms are with the TV. Right? So we don't know exactly how many rooms have with the TV, which is what we are going to determine. Okay. So what is our target? We have considered the date August 31st. Our target is 23,500 rupees, and number of patients on August 31st is 20 patients. We derived all these data, right? So considering August 31st, this is input. This was calculated by us, right? Okay. So now we need to know how many TVs can we have so that this target can be achieved. Okay. So the number of TVs can be in which range? Either I can go with no TV at all, right? I can say I don't need a TV at all. Without the TV, I can achieve the target. That is a possibility. Or the worst case scenario is all 20 rooms should have a TV. Correct? Best case scenario, you need not buy a TV at all. Even without a TV, you can achieve the target. On the other hand, you have to buy TV for all the 20 rooms to achieve the target. So, the possibility is going to be in the range 0 to 20. Number of TVs could be in the range 0 to 20. Either no TV or you can buy TV for all the rooms. Any value within this range. You can have 3 TVs or 4 TVs or 5 TVs. It could be any value within the range. Yes? Okay. And what is the data we already have? We know that cost of rooms with the TV is 2000, which is nothing but R1 value, and cost of room without TV is 1000, which is R2. So now let us consider the current scenario. Let us recollect the data we have. What is the data we have? Rate of with TV room is 2000, without TV is 1000. There are 20 rooms. Target is 23,500. And what did we say? Number of TVs can be in the range 0 to 20. Yes. Let us start from 0. What if I have no TV at all? Consider this scenario. Okay. So number of TVs is 0 means how many rooms are there without a TV? Number of rooms without TV is 20. Can you see that? Number of rooms without TV is going to be 20. So how now we have to calculate the income. What will be the income? Current income is nothing but income is dependent on income from TV rooms and income from non-TV rooms. Yes. So number of TV rooms into its cost. Correct? That is what you will do. If you have one room, you will receive 2000. If you have two rooms, you will receive 4000. So number of TV rooms into its cost. This is for TV rooms. Along with the TV rooms, you should consider non-TV rooms also. So consider number of non-TV rooms into its corresponding cost. Is it clear? TV rooms into cost. This will give the overall income from TV rooms plus overall income from non-TV rooms. Add both the values. So we'll substitute it here. You'll have it as 0 into 2000. Number of TVs is 0 and its rate is 2000. Okay. Non-TV rooms is 20 and its rate is 1000. Substituted in the equation, your answer will be 20,000. But your target is 23,500. So if I don't have a TV at all, I'll get only 20,000, which is less than target. So which means I should buy one TV. Okay. So next case 2, we will buy one TV. Okay. If I buy one TV, one room will have a TV, remaining 19 rooms will be without TV. Clear? When you buy one TV, exactly one room will have a TV, remaining 19 rooms will be without a TV. Okay, so let us do the income calculation now. How will you calculate the income? TV room. If I have one TV room, I'll get 2000. If I have 19 rooms without TV, we'll get 19,000. So add both the values, right? Income can be calculated as number of TV rooms into its cost plus number of non-TV rooms into its cost. Same formula. Formula is not going to change. Okay. So you'll substitute it as 1 into 2000. TV rooms into its cost plus 19 into 1000. Okay. So substitute the values now. Your answer will be 21,000. But your target was 23,500. So I know that I'm not getting my target yet. Yes, my target is 23,500. When I buy one TV, target is not achieved. The value is less than target. 21,000 is less than target. So what do you understand? One TV is not enough. Buy one more TV. Make it two TVs. Okay. So next case we are going to consider we have two TVs. Clear? Because with one TV I can't reach the target. So I'll make it two TVs. When you have it as two TVs, number of rooms without TV is 18. Again, calculate the cost. Number of rooms with the TV is 2. For one room it is 2000. For two rooms it is 4000. Then without TV rooms is 18. For one room it is 1000. For 18 rooms it will be 18,000. Clear? So how will I calculate the current income? Number of TV rooms into its cost plus number of non-TV rooms into its cost. Okay. Substitute the values. 2 into 2000 plus 18 into 1000. Okay. 2 into 2000 plus 18 into 1000. Solve it. Your answer will be 22,000. Even now if you notice the income is less than target only. Yes, it is still less than target. So what do you understand from this? If you have two rooms with the TV, it is not sufficient. So now you will get the flow here. What should I do next? If I have two TVs, it is not sufficient. So what can we do here? Instead of two TVs, we can try buying three TVs, right? Next case, we are going to buy three TVs. So total TV rooms that we have is three. For out of 20 rooms, 3 rooms are with the TV. So without TV, we will be having 17 rooms. Okay, without TV, we will have 17 rooms. Calculate the cost. TVs are 3, cost is 2000. For one TV, it is 2000. For 3 TVs, it is 6000. Next one, 17. One non-TV room is 1000. 17 non-TV rooms is 17,000. Okay. So cost can be calculated using the same formula. Substitute in the formula 3 into 2000 plus 17 into 1000, which is 23,000. Even now if you notice, we haven't reached the target. Target is 23,500, but here we have only 23,000. So what should be the next step? Having 3 TVs is not sufficient. Let us move on to having 4 TVs. We'll get the answer now. When I have 4 TVs, how many non-TV rooms are there? 16 rooms are there without a TV. Okay. 4 rooms are with the TV, remaining are without a TV. So how will you calculate the income? Income can be calculated as number of rooms into cost of TV rooms, same as non-TV rooms. Okay. Multiply. What should we do here? 4 TVs, each at the cost of 2000. 16 non-TVs, each at the cost of 1000. So your total cost will be 4 into 2000 plus 16 into 1000, which is 24,000. Now if you look at it, I've reached the target. What is my target? 23,500. So when I have 4 TVs, my value will be achieved. The target will be achieved. I can't exactly derive 23,500, right? Deriving 23,500 exactly is not possible. But when I have 4 TVs, target will be achieved. So if you have 5 TVs or 6 TVs or 7 TVs, even then your target will be achieved. But that is not the question here. How many should you buy? The least number of TVs you should buy so that target can be achieved. Can you understand this? Yes. So all the calculations which I did here is only for one day. This 24,000 is dealt only for one day. Which day did we consider? We considered August 31st alone, and I had a target for August 31st alone. So what did we do? We started with 0 TVs. We tried to find out after how many TVs can I achieve my target on that particular day. That was what we tried here. But in reality, in the question that they have asked, they are not speaking about one day, they are speaking about one whole year. Yes, we did all the calculations for one day. On that particular day, this is my profit. Just like you calculate for one particular day, now we are going to calculate for one whole year. Can you understand it? Yes, we are going to calculate for a complete year. Based on the complete year, we need to say how many TVs should we buy. Is it clear? Yes, that is what we are going to work on next. Okay. Answer here, number of required TVs is 4. When I have 4 TVs, I'll achieve my target. So, this is a basic example, guys. Now we are going to work on the similar problem for an entire year, as I said already. Okay. So, from now on, let us start working on the problem. Okay. Look at the input format. First line provides an integer n that denotes number of rooms. And in the next line you will have two space delimited integers that denote rate of rooms with TV and rate of rooms without TV, which is R1 value and R2 value. So first line will have n. Next line will have R1, R2. Third line will have the target. Okay, let's get the input first. Okay, so you'll have n value r1, r2 and target. Okay, so first line will have n value, second line will have, you can scan everything in the same line also, but just to make the difference very clear, I'm doing it in individual lines. Okay, first line will have n value, second line will have r1, r2 values, and third line will have the target value. Clear? This is how our input is going to be. Okay, so in the output you should say how many TVs are required. Look at the output format. Minimum number of TVs the hospital needs to buy so as to meet its revenue target. Can you understand? How many TVs should it buy so that it can meet the revenue target? If it cannot achieve its target, print the total number of rooms. So there is a chance that even when I fill all the rooms with the TV, I cannot achieve my target. There are scenarios like that. So in that case, just print the total number of rooms in the hospital. Clear? If you achieve the target, print the number of TVs. If you cannot achieve the target, print the total number of rooms. Okay? Okay. So now let us start working on the algorithm part. Let us create a set of steps, and based on those set of steps, let us proceed. Yes, so what is going to be our ultimate aim here? We should reach the given target, right? So until we reach the target, until the target is reached, what did we do here? We calculated the income and we kept increasing the number of TVs. Yes, so until we reach the target, we'll increase the number of TVs. Okay, Start from TV 0, start from no TVs at all, and keep increasing the number of TVs. Exactly what we did earlier. Okay. So start from the scenario where you don't need to buy a TV. After that, say you have one TV, what happens? Say you have two TVs, what happens? Like that, keep calculating the number of TVs. Understood? Yes? Okay. So, what should you do? When I have one TV, what will be my total income? As in for the entire year. When I showed you the example, I showed it for one day. Just like we work for one day, we are going to work for the entire year. Okay. So for when zero TVs are there, what is the income for entire year? When one TV is present, what is the income for entire year? So you are going to calculate income for an year based on the TV number. Clear? Based on the number of TVs. If it is 0 TV, what is the income? If it is 1 TV, what is the income? So increase the TV, calculate the income. Buy one more TV, calculate the income. Repeat these two processes. Repeat steps 2 and 3 until we reach the target. This is our ultimate aim. Basically, our program is going to do only this. What are we going to do? Until we reach the particular target, we will keep increasing the number of TVs. Okay. So for each TV count, see whether you can achieve the target. If you can achieve the target, stop it right there. If you can't achieve the target, increase the number of TVs and proceed to the next step. So here, target reached is easy. You need to calculate income. Number of TVs is increasing linearly. But how will I calculate income for an year? That is an important point. Yes, you are not calculating income for just one day. For one day it was easy, guys. But when I speak about an entire year, it is going to be a little different. Clear? Okay. So how is it going to be different? To calculate an income for an entire year, see, first let us finish off the first two steps. Okay, let me write the code for these two steps, then we'll go to the third step. Okay, so initially have a variable TV count and have a variable current income just to calculate income for each year. Yes, so let us zoom this place. Yeah, this is fine, right? Okay, so initially TV count will start from 0, right? Initially TV count will start from 0. We will keep increasing the TV count. Clear? TV count will start from 0, keep increasing the TV count. Each time calculate income. Yes, there is some calculation part we are going to fill up here. Let me say it is a function. Okay, each time calculate income. Okay, we'll fill up the function, guys. So each time calculate the income. If your income becomes greater than or equal to, if your income becomes greater than or equal to target, then this number of TVs is enough, right? When should you continue? When your income is less than target, you will continue. But if your income becomes greater than or equal to target, then you don't have to buy one more TV. If target is achieved, we don't have to buy one more TV. So at this point, break. Okay, simple. Keep increasing the TV count, calculate income each time. We'll fill up the function as we move on. Okay, so current income, if it is greater than or equal to target, you can break. Yes, and what if it does not become equal at all? For example, n is equal to 20. Okay, I have 20 rooms. So what I see is even after buying 20 TVs, I can't meet my target. So shall we go on and buy 21st TV? No, there is a range. There is a limit to which you can buy the TVs. So check whether TV count is less than or equal to n. We have 20 rooms, you can buy a maximum of 20 TVs only. If it goes beyond that, you should not buy it. Okay. So when I finish the program, if current income is greater than or equal to target, if target is achieved, if current income greater than or equal to target means target is achieved. If your target is achieved, print TV count. Okay. If your target is not achieved, remember the output format. If your target is not achieved, if it cannot achieve the target, print total number of rooms in the hospital. Okay. If it is not achievable, print the number of rooms. Print of percentage d comma number of rooms. So these are the steps we need to do here. Okay. So the next thing we are going to fill up is calculating the income. Okay. So I'll have it as a function here. Calculate income. We are calculating income for a entire year. Yes, we are going to calculate income for an entire year. So how can we calculate income? To calculate income for an full year, for one full year, if we should calculate income, we need to know how many patients arrive on each day. Because according to the formula that they have given us, according to the pattern, we will not have same number of patients every day. The number of patients will change, which means income obtained every day is going to be different. Yes. So you can't just add up total number of patients and tell me the income. That is not how it works. Okay. Some days I will have 40 patients. So all of them will have a room. Some days I may have 0 patients. Some days I might have 3 patients. So based on that, income will differ. Okay. So what should you do? Calculate income for each day. How will you calculate that? Based on the number of patients. Okay. After you calculate the income for each day, add all the income value. Income obtained every day is added to total income. Can you understand? Calculate income for each day. Okay. We have a total of 365 days. Right? Calculate income for each day, add all the income. Okay. Calculate the income for each day and add all the income. Is it clear? We have a total of 365 days. Calculate income for each day and add all the income. That will give you the total income. Yes. Now the question comes as, how do I calculate income for each day? If I know that, I can get the total income. Right? Okay. So, how do you calculate income for each day? Income for each day is dependent on number of patients on that day. Yes. For example, for August 31st, I had 20 patients. So, for 20 patients, you can calculate the income. On the other hand, some other day, say August 30. On August 30, we'll be having only 19 patients. So, the income will vary. So, what should you know? You should know how many patients appear on each day. Can you understand? We need to know how many patients appear on each day. So the third step we'll be calculating here is number of patients throughout the year is needed for us. Clear? Since we don't have the same number of patients, each year, each day, how many patients will be admitted? We need to calculate that. Okay. So, for any particular day, for all days in the year, calculate the number of patients. Yes, I need the data for all 365 days. So, calculate the data and store it in an array. Okay, I hope you understand why we need this data. To calculate income for each day, we should know how many patients appear on that day. Okay, so calculate how many patients will appear on any day. For all 365 days, how many patients will appear? Calculate that. store it in an array. Based on that array value, you can calculate the income value. Clear? Okay. So first step, we need to know number of patients. Okay. How can I calculate the number of patients? If you remember, there is a formula for this. To calculate the number of patients, we have a pattern. Yes, what is the formula to calculate number of patients? 6 minus m the whole square plus absolute of d minus 15. This formula will give you how many patients appear on that particular day and month. Say August 31st, substitute 8 here and day as 31. Right? When you perform the substitution properly, you will be able to identify the number of patients. Okay. So M value, M is nothing but the month. M value will be in the range 1 to 12. Yes. And how many days we will have? We will have 365 days. Okay. Listen, since I have 365 days, we are going to get the patient count. For how many days? For 365 days. Is it clear? Patient count is going to be obtained for all 365 days. And to access the values in the array, have a variable named as index. So before you go into this income calculation part, before this part, you should know the count of patients. Yes, before we go to income calculation, we should know the count of patients. How can I know the count of patients? You will have to store it in an array. See, your array is going to be something like this. Size of array is 365. So, index will be 0 to 364. Size is 365. So, index will be 0 to 364. So, what does it mean? 0th index is Jan 1st. Next index is Jan 2nd. Next is Jan 3rd. And Jan 4th. Like that it goes on. Last 364th index is December 31st. 363 is December 30, December 29. Like that the values are going to be stored. Clear? Have an array of size 365 starting from Jan 1 till December 31st. Okay. So first value for Jan 1 store it in 0th index. For Jan 2 store it in first index. Clear? So start from index 0. Okay. I'll write it like this. Index value is initialized as 0. So I don't want to create a loop immediately. We'll just proceed with the problem. Okay. Initially index value is 0. Now how will I calculate the patient count? The patient count can be calculated using the formula 6 minus m the whole square plus absolute of d minus 15. Okay. It can be calculated as 6 minus m the whole square. So 6 minus m into 6 minus m. This is nothing but 6 minus m the whole square plus absolute of d minus 15. Understood? You can calculate patient count of any index, not just the 0th index. For any index, 6 minus m into 6 minus m plus absolute value of d minus 15. Since I am using absolute function here, I need to include the header file stdlib.h, standard library header. Okay. Okay, so I know how to calculate the patient count. Now, what is this m value? What is this d value? Consider m is equal to 1, right? When m is equal to 1, when m is in the range 1 to 12, but day value, will the number of days be same for all the months? For Jan month, we will have 31 days. For Feb month, we will have 28 days. They are considering non-leap year only, so don't consider 29th day. For Jan, 31 days. For Feb, 28 days, for March 31 days, like that. The number of days keeps changing. The number of days is dependent on the month, right? Okay, so D could be having multiple ranges. What are the ranges? It could be in the range 1 to 31 for these months. For Jan, March, May, July, August, October and December, number of days is 31. For Feb month, number of days is 28. For all the remaining months, number of days will be 30 days. Clear? So month will be in the range 1 to 12. For each month, you will have many days. For each month, you will have many days. So these days will always start from 1, but the finishing value will be different. Clear? Month will be in the range 1 to 12. Days could be in different ranges. Yes? So we will have month from 1 to 12. Okay, we will have month from 1 to 12. For each month, we will have particular set of days. Okay, yes, look at the loops now, it will be understandable. For every month, when I consider month 1, 1 to some limit. When I consider month 2, start from 1, but the end value will be different for each month. Okay, the limit value is not going to be same for all the months. Limit value will change for each month. So we need to calculate limit value. What does this limit indicate? Maximum days in that month. Limit is nothing but maximum days in that month. What do I mean by that? If I consider Jan month, maximum days is 31. If I consider February, maximum days is 28. If I consider March, maximum days is 31. So the limit value will change each time. So it is up to us to find the limit value. How can I find the maximum days? Let me create a function for that. Maximum days in a particular month has to be calculated. Okay, maximum days in a particular month has to be calculated. How can I calculate it? If it is month 2, okay, we'll use switch here. Instead of using else if ladder, I'm going to use switch. You can use an else if ladder, that's up to you. Okay, switch month. If it is second month, for second month return 28. Yes, okay. There are a few months where you should return 31. Yes, what are the months where I'll return 31? For first month, third month, May is 5, July is 7, August is 8, October is 10 and December is 12. Yes, for these months, number of days will be 31. Okay, so here for 1, for 3, for 5, 7, 8, 10 and 12. For all these months, you can directly return 31. Clear? If you have any of these months, return 31. Otherwise, by default, return 30. So what are the months that will enter this default? February will not come here. 31 days will not come here. All the remaining months. Here I mentioned the term remaining months, right? You don't have to complicate the program by mentioning its number. Anything other than these two sets is going to be 30 days only. Okay. So if it is not 28 days, if it is not 31 days, by default return 30 days. So what do I know from this? I will know maximum days in a month, right? So now if you look at the program, what are we doing here? For all the month, starting from Jan to December, first we will know the maximum days. That is, we may have 31 days, 30 days, 28 days. First we will calculate the maximum days. Then for each day, apply the formula and get the count of patients. Okay. After storing the count, increment index value. So that index will keep moving to the next day, because Jan 1st is 0th day means Jan 2nd is first day, index 1. So keep modifying index. This is to get the count of patients. I hope I made it clear. Okay, with this data you can get the count of patients. So count of patients is stored in an array called as patient count. Size of this patient count will definitely be 365, because we are calculating for all 365 days. Yes, I hope I made it clear. Yes, so now we have the count of patients. Coming back to the algorithm part, after finding the count of patients, we need to focus on calculating the income, right? How can I calculate the income? See, what are the variables that determine the income? I need to know how many patients I have, right? So I'm giving the patient count array. I need to know how many patients I have and how many TVs are we considering. Because when you have 0 TVs, that is a different concept. When you have 1 TV, that is a different concept. Yes. So how many TVs and total number of rooms R1, R2. These are the values that we need to provide. Can you understand? You need to give the number of patients. To calculate the income, I need the number of patients. I need to know how many TVs we have and what is the total number of rooms and cost of rooms with TV and cost of rooms without TV. Only with all these values, we can calculate the income. Clear? Okay. So now we are going to define this function. Once we define this function, the problem is almost done. Okay. So moving into the function part, 5 variables are given, guys. Okay. The 5 variables are, first one is patient count, which is an array. Next one is TV count. Okay. Next we have the number of rooms, R1 value, R2 value. These are the values I have. Clear? So how can I define this function? See, initially income is going to be 0. Initially income will be 0. Yes, I don't know what is the income going to be. So income will be 0. We need to consider all the days. All the days as in all 365 days. Okay. So starting from 0th index till less than 365, because in our array we are storing it as 0 to 364. So till less than 365 days plus. Okay. So for each day calculate some income and parallelly add all the income. Finally return the income value. Understood? You have a total of 365 days. So create a loop for all the 365 days. Calculate the income within the loop. For all the days, calculate the income. Add the value. Whatever you get as your final result. At the end of a loop, you would have calculated income for all 365 days. Yes. After calculating for all 365 days, whatever is your result, that is your total income. Return that income. Clear? Okay. So we just need to fill up this for loop part. How will I fill up this for loop part? Just a quick understanding is there are 3 scenarios which we have to deal here. Okay. So let me consider our example problem itself. In our example problem we said we have a total of 20 rooms. 4 should contain TV. Right. Let me consider that scenario. Okay. So how many TV rooms, non-TV rooms, and which day are we considering? On that day, how many patients we have? These are the data I'm going to analyze. So we know that we have 4 TV rooms, which gives us 16 non-TV rooms. Okay. Since I need to consider different scenarios, I have taken the example of August 29th. Okay. On August 29th, if you apply the formula, we will be having 18 patients. Okay. So where will this 18 patients go? Can I give a non-TV room for all the 18 patients? I can't give a non-TV room for all the 18 patients, right? Because these 18 patients cannot are greater than the non-TV rooms. I have only 16 non-TV rooms. So preference will go for the room without TV. So from these 18 patients, first 16 patients will go to room without TV. Clear? From the 18 patients, first two patients will go to room without TV, and remaining patients, how many are remaining? Two patients are remaining. Remaining will go to rooms with the TV. Okay. So how can I calculate the income? 16 into R2. 16 patients are going to non-TV rooms. So 16 into R2. What is R2? Cost of non-TV rooms. And 2 into R1 will give you the final answer. Add the two values, you will get the overall income. Yes, so your formula will be 16 into R2 plus 2 into R1. Clear? This is one scenario. Next case. So what is okay, the general formula is going to be 16 is nothing but number of rooms without TV into R2 plus with the TV into R1. But I'm not considering the total rooms with the TV. If I have two patients remaining patients into R1 has to be considered. Clear? Remaining patients into R1. So no TV rooms are filled, and with the TV rooms will contain the remaining patients only, not all the patients. Okay. Next case. August 17th. On August 17th, I have 6 patients. Okay. So when I have 6 patients, all of them will go to the room with no TV since it is cheaper. So what will happen? All 6 patients will go to room without TV. No patient will go to the room with the TV. Yes. So your formula will be number of patients is 6. All of them are going to room without TV. So 6 into R2, and no patient is going to room with the TV. So 0 into R1. Clear? This term is not actually needed. You need to focus only on this 6 into R2. So that will be your formula. The revenue is nothing but 6 into R2. What is the 6? The 6 is nothing but number of patients into R2. Okay. The 6 is number of patients into R2. Okay. Next scenario. Consider the date Jan 31st. Yes, on Jan 31st we have 41 patients, but I have only 20 rooms. I don't have 40 rooms or 50 rooms. I have only 20 rooms. But the number of patients is 41, right? If the number of patients is 41, I can't accommodate everyone. I can accommodate only 20 patients. And how will I accommodate them? All non-TV rooms will be filled, and all TV rooms will also be filled. Am I right? Yes. All non-TV rooms will be filled and all TV rooms will also be filled. This is the scenario. So, what is your formula? All non-TV rooms means I have 16 non-TV rooms. So, 16 into R2. 16 into its cost, and TV rooms is 4. So 4 into R1. This will be your final answer. So 16 into R2 plus 4 into R1. So what do you observe here? This 16 is nothing but total non-TV rooms. 4 is nothing but total TV rooms. So non-TV room is multiplied with R2 and TV room is multiplied with R1. What is the difference you observe between these three cases, guys? You need to develop the program based on this only. Okay, let me start with second case. Look at the second case. What happens in the second case? Number of patients is less than the non-TV rooms, right? I have 16 non-TV rooms. number of patients is less than non-TV rooms, it means you are considering patients into R2. 6 is nothing but the number of patients into R2. Let me write down this scenario first. Okay. The number of patients. The number of patients is less than non-TV rooms. Okay. If the number of patients is less than non-TV rooms, income is equal to previous income plus, okay, or we will have temporary income. Why to confuse? Have a variable named as temporary income. Okay. So how will I calculate the income for this case? When the patient count is less than non-TV rooms. Patient count 6 is less than non-TV rooms means multiply the patient count with R2. So patient count is multiplied with R2. This is one scenario. Okay. Else if. Let us move on to the first scenario. In the first scenario, I have 18 patients which is less than the number of rooms. Because I have 20 rooms, but the number of patients is 18 only, right? So, this case is patient count is less than the number of rooms. Okay. If your patient count is less than the number of rooms, what will you do? As much as possible, first non-TV rooms will be completely filled, not partially filled. Non-TV rooms will be completely filled. Okay. So all non-TV rooms is filled. Okay. Non-TV, whatever count you have for non-TV, it is fully filled, so full cost is obtained. But TV room is not going to be fully filled. I have 4 TV rooms, but only the remaining patients will come to this. Yes, apart from non-TV rooms, how many are remaining? That those persons will come to TV rooms. Okay, so from the total patient count, your total patient count is 18. From this 18, some will have gone to non-TV rooms, right? From this 18, some will have gone to non-TV rooms. Remove them. So, whoever is remaining, those are the patients that enter TV rooms. For them, the cost will be R1. Clear? From the total, whoever goes to non-TV room, remove them, remaining will be coming to TV rooms. Okay. So when I go to none of these cases, when will I not go to any of these cases? Look at it in the third scenario. In the third scenario, is it less than 16? No. Is it less than the n value? No. If both are not true, it means it is in the third scenario. In the third scenario, all rooms will be filled. Total non-TV rooms will also be filled. Total TV rooms will also be filled. Okay. So in this scenario, temporary income is total non-TV rooms into R2 plus total TV rooms, TV count. Yes, TV count. How many TVs you have? That will be the TV rooms. TV rooms into R1. It will be filled completely. Yes. So, in any one of this scenario, you will get a temporary income. Whatever value you get added to the total income. Okay, that's it. This is the income calculation. Yes, based on the scenario we are in, we will calculate the income. So first calculate temporary income. With that temporary income, calculate overall income. Yes, there is one extra variable I have used here, which is non-TV, right? Okay. How will I calculate this non-TV value? Totally I have n rooms. Say 20 rooms. In 20 rooms, if your TV count is 1, non-TV is 19. In 20 rooms, if your TV count is 2, non-TV is 18. Similarly, it changes. So, non-TV rooms is nothing but total rooms minus TV count. Okay, total rooms minus TV count. This is the income calculation. I hope I made it clear. Based on TV count, calculate non-TV rooms, calculate income on one particular day, add all the income, finally return the income. This function helps you calculate income values, right? Now moving on into main. What did we do in main? We got all the inputs. We are calculating the patient count for all 365 days. After calculating the count of patients, by changing TV count, we are going to calculate income. As soon as I reach the target, I will break the for loop. Okay. So let me compile this for the sample case alone. See if we have any errors thrown here. Okay, index was not declared in the scope. I haven't declared index. In which function? In calculate income function. Yes. So in the function calculate income, we haven't declared the variable index. Yeah, my fault. Okay, it is not index, it is actually days. Right, I'm using the variable days here. So patient count of days. Sorry about that. Here we are using patient count of days. So instead of having it as index, rename it as patient count of days. Days is the one that starts from 0 and proceeds till 365. Okay. So compile it now. Let's see if we have any other errors. I have declared days 2 times. Non-TV was not declared. Limit was not declared. Okay. Everything is going to be just minor declaration errors. We'll see what are the values we haven't declared here. Okay. Limit is not declared. Declare it. They say days is declared twice. Remove it. And here it is going to be non-TV, V capital. Change it. Okay, anything else? M and D was not declared. Okay. Okay, guys, as soon as you use a variable, we should have the habit of declaring it. I generally do the declaration at the end. I guess I forgot this time. Sorry about that. So, compile. Yes. Sample test case is passed. So, our logic is right. But is it efficient? We ourselves can see that this is not efficient. We are going to use same logic only, but we are going to optimize the problem we have done here. Okay. So, I hope I've made the calculation till this point very clear. Yes, only if you understand the calculation till this point, you will be able to understand the optimization procedure also. Okay. So next we are going to work on optimizing the problem. So what are the ways in which I can optimize the problem? Let's take a look at it now. For optimization, I'm going to use a concept called as binary search. So when I say the term binary search, some of you may know it, some of you may not know it. So what I'll do is I'll just give a quick recap on what is linear search and what is binary search. Okay, consider you have 100 numbers. Okay, set of 100 numbers, continuous values, and I'm telling you from these 100 numbers, search for the value 68. This is my question. I've given you 100 numbers in sorted order and I'm telling you search for 68. So generally what you'll do is starting from 1. Imagine this is stored in an array, guys. Imagine this is stored in an array. So you will start from 1 and you will search. You don't find 68, continue searching. We don't find 68, continue searching. Still we don't find 68. Next time I have found 68. 68 is here, right? I have 68 here. So once I find 68, I'll tell this is where I have my value. That is what we usually do. But what we'll do this time is, we know that input is in sorted order. Yes, if your input is in sorted order, don't search through the entire range. Subdivide the range and search only in the possible range. That is what I'm going to do now. I'm going to subdivide this range. So how does it work? Take a look at it. Your numbers search value is 68. I'm going to form a table to explain it, guys. Listen. Left, right, mid, compare, choose. What does this value mean? In your entire range, your leftmost value is 1. Your rightmost value is 100. Yes. So this is your left value. This is your right value. Left extreme end and right extreme end values are chosen. And mid value is calculated as left plus right divided by 2. Okay, mid value is calculated as left plus right divided by 2. Okay, in the first scenario, leftmost value is 1 and rightmost value is 100. Right, leftmost is 1, rightmost is 100. 1 plus 100 divided by 2 will give you 50. Don't consider the float terms, consider integer terms. It will give the answer as 50. We are searching for 68. I have obtained 50. Compare them. 68 is greater than the mid value. Your search value is greater than the middle value. So obviously, should I search to the right side of 50 or left side of 50? Efficient technique will be searching to the right side of 50. So I'm going to choose right hand side. Can you understand? Since the search value is greater, instead of searching on the left hand side, we will search on the right hand side. Okay. So where do we have the 50? We have 50 here. I don't need the left side values. I need only the right side values. So eliminate left side values. Okay. This range is completely not needed. So I have eliminated this range. Now what is your left extreme? Left extreme has changed, but right extreme is still 100. Yes, right extreme is 100 only. Left extreme has changed as 51. We'll write it down. So left side extreme value is 51. Right side extreme value is 100. What is the middle value? Left plus right divided by 2. So 151 divided by 2. Answer will be 75. Okay. Your search value is 68. Obtained middle value is 75. Search is less than the middle value. Right, I have my middle value here. Look at it. I have the middle value here. My search is less than the middle value. So best option will be searching on the left hand side. Since it is lesser, search on the left hand side. So I'm going to choose left hand side. Since I have chosen left hand side, eliminate the right side values. Clear? Since we have chosen left hand side, eliminate right side values. Now what happens? Look at it. Your left extreme was 51. Even now, left side extreme is 51 only. Yes. Since I have chosen left side, left boundary does not change. Which boundary changes? Right boundary changes. Right boundary changes as 74. I'll write it down. 51 is same. Right value changes as 74. So what will be the middle now? 51 plus 74 divided by 2. 125 divided by 2. Answer is 62. So now the middle value is 62. Can you see the middle here? Yes. So this time search is greater than the middle value. So if search is greater than the middle value, greater values will be on the right hand side. So choose the right hand side. So which side should be ignored now? Left side should be ignored. Clear? Ignore the left hand side. Now what is your left extreme? 63 is your left extreme and 74 is your right extreme. Okay? Choose that. Left extreme is 63, right extreme is 74. So when I calculate mid value will be 68. So when I reach 68, it is equal to the search value. So stop the process. Look at it. We have completed the entire operation in 4 steps. Just 4 steps. I didn't need anything more. Just 4 steps and we have completed the entire operation. Okay. So this is what we are going to implement. In our problem also, think about it. When I increase the number of TVs, my income will increase. Obviously, right? When I have 10 TVs, the income will be greater than the income of 5 TVs. So as the TVs increase, income will also increase, which means your data is actually in sorted order only. Okay. So instead of finding for all the TVs, we are going to apply this algorithm. Let us take a quick recap on this algorithm. Look at the table alone. Focus on the table alone. Step 0. Initially, where will you start left and right from? Left and right will start from extreme ends. We'll do it parallelly, guys. Okay, here during our input income calculation, yes, in this point. Yes. When I use this TV values, when we calculate this income, we will not use linear approach. Okay, I'm not going to consider all TV counts. I'm going to use binary search approach, which means I will need left, right and mid value. I'll declare it parallelly because anyway I'm going to forget it at the end. So initialize left and right value. What did they tell you? Initialize with extreme end. Left extreme is 0. You can have 0 TVs. Right extreme is N. You can have all rooms with TVs. So left and right. Maybe we can have this in a for loop. That will be better, right? So two initializations, left equal to 0, right equal to N. Okay. We'll come back to the condition and updation part. Yes. What did we do each time? And once we choose left and right value, we'll calculate the mid value. How will you calculate mid value? Left plus right divided by 2. So mid is nothing but left plus right divided by 2. Okay. Calculate the middle value. After we calculate the middle value, now we should compare. After calculating the middle value, we'll perform a comparison here. Right? What is the comparison? If your search value is, okay, here. If your search value is less than mid, move to the left hand side. Yes. If search value, okay, greater than. First we'll finish off greater than, sorry. If search value is greater than mid, move to the right hand side. Okay. So your search value in this case, in our case, we are searching for our target income. Right. We are searching for our target income. So check whether your target is greater than income at mid value. Okay. See, your current income is nothing but calculate income. For calculate income, you should give the patient count. Look at this. For calculate income, we'll give the patient count, TV count, N, R1, R2. Patient count, TV count, N, R1 and R2. This is the data calculation needs. Yes, but the TV count value is not proceeding linearly, proceeding based on the middle value. So, if I have 20 rooms, I will not start with 0 TVs. I'll start with the middle value. What is the middle value? 10. So, if I have 10 TVs, what will be my current income? Based on that, I'll proceed to the left or right. So, TV count is determined based on middle value. Whichever is your middle value. If I choose 10, work with the 10. Based on that value, we can decide to go either to the left hand side or to the right hand side. Okay. So if your target is greater than current income, go to the right side. So if target is greater than current income, target is not yet achieved. So go to the right hand side and find higher income values. Yes. How will I decide to go to the right hand side? I will decide it as left is equal to mid plus 1. Right. When you go to the right hand side, right boundary will be the same. Left boundary will change. How will I choose left boundary? Mid value plus 1. Understood? Left boundary will change, right boundary will not change. So, when I go to the right hand side, left is equal to mid plus 1. Okay. Next one. If search value less than mid value, consider second case. If search value is less than mid value, go to the left hand side. Yes. So, if target That is your search. Target is your required value. If it is less than current income, then you go to the left side. Okay, choose a lesser value. Find whether you have a lesser value because you need the minimum number of TVs. There is a chance we have a lesser value. So go to the left hand side. When you go to the left hand side, left boundary will not change. Right boundary will change as mid minus 1. Am I right? Right boundary will change as mid minus 1. Right will change as mid minus 1. I hope I made it clear till this point. Okay. So here we are going to use binary search. In binary search, what we have done is calculated the middle value, that will be the TV count. Based on the income, we'll either move to the right side or we'll move to the left side. Okay. And whenever you meet the target, here I have met the target. Target less than current income is nothing but current income has become greater than target. Is nothing but current income has become greater than target, which means target is achieved. If target is achieved, that might be your resultant value, so store that mid value. If target is achieved, it could be your result. We don't know until we complete. So if target is achieved, store that mid value. Okay, so even if it is equal to, you can store the mid value. Okay, so if it is greater, change left. If it is lesser, that could be your required value, so store it, then you change right value. Or if it is equal, I'll have else if here. Or if it is equal, that is also a chance, right? You might directly meet the target value. Okay, there is a chance that we could get to the equal value. If it is equal, you have to stop the process. Okay, if the values are equal, stop the process. So here, when the values become equal, break statement. But before you break, whatever is your mid value, that is your required output. I hope I made it clear. Yes. So whenever your target is met, store the mid value as the count. If you can't reach the target, don't update the count value. Okay. So initialize count as. So initially, I'll set the count value as n. I'll do it here so that it makes more meaning. Yes, initially I'll set the count value as n. Why am I doing that? Because if you cannot achieve the target, print total number of rooms in the hospital, right? So, initialize with the total number of rooms in the hospital. If target is met, update the value. If you cannot reach the target, we will directly print n value. Clear? Okay. So, this is the condition part. Now, what is the looping condition? There are several conditions, guys. First of all, boundary condition. What is the boundary condition? Left should be greater than or equal to 0. Right should be less than n. This is the boundary condition, and one important thing is left should be less than or equal to right. That is what makes sense. Yes, left is starting from the left side end, right is starting from a greater value. Left is a lesser value, right is a greater value. So, if left becomes greater than right, that makes no sense at all. Can you understand this? Yes, left is starting from a lesser value. Left is starting from a lesser value. Right is starting from a greater value, which means left should always be less than or equal to right. If left becomes greater than right, that is invalid. So stop when left becomes greater than right, which is why I have given the condition as left less than or equal to right and right less than or equal to n. N is also included. Yes, so here we have implemented binary search. Start left and right, calculate mid, based on mid, go to the left or right side. So I have commented linear search. We don't need linear search. So which variable has a final answer? Count has a final answer. So printf percentage d comma count. Count value has a final answer. And did we declare count value? No. So let me declare count value. Guys, if all those unnecessary variables, you can eliminate them at the end. Okay. For now, I'm just focusing on getting the program right. So here we have passed the sample test case. This is one level of optimization. Super. But this is still not perfectly optimized. Why? Because for income calculation, when I calculate the income, I'm considering 365 days. If I give you 1000 year time period, if I give you 1000 year time period, for each year you should consider 365 days. Let us try to simplify this. Okay. How can I simplify this? Okay. See, one thing you should know is the income is calculated for each day. Yes, currently we calculate income for each day. But the number of patients on certain dates will be same. Did you ever think of it? We have 365 days. There is one formula given for us. It is not like all days will have unique values. Values will be repeated. Definitely there will be repetition. For example, Jan 1 and 29, November 1 and 29, December 12 and 18. All these 6 dates have exactly 39 patients. Apply the formula and see, for all these 6 days we have exactly 39 patients. If they all have 39 patients, income on all these days will be same, because income is calculated based on number of patients, right? We said it already. Income is calculated based on number of patients. If 6 days have 39 patients, income for all 6 days will be the same. So, according to our logic, I'll calculate individually for these days. But now if I think about it, I don't have to calculate it individually, right? If 6 days will have the same income, I can use one income and substitute it for all the 6 days. Okay, this is the optimization we are going to do further. Okay, instead of calculating them individually, we can calculate them as, look at it, income for one day with 39 patients is X. Income for one day with 39 patients is X. Now how many days will have the same patients? 6 days will have same number of patients. So income for 6 days with 39 patients is 6 into X. You can directly substitute it, right? Instead of calculating for first day, second day, third day individually, for 6 days it is going to be 6 into X. You can directly tell the answer. So this is the optimization we are going to do now. Okay. So what you can do here is, here what have we done? We are storing Jan 1, Jan 2, Jan 3, Jan 4 like that. For 365 days, we have stored separately. Yes, when storing the data, we are storing the number of patients for each day. When storing the data, currently we are storing how many patients will come in each day. But in our optimized technique, we are going to store the number of times same patient count occurs. For example, 39. How many times 39 occurs? 6 times. So I am going to store count of 39 is equal to 6. Okay, which means 39 patients will occur 6 times. Do you understand the optimization we are going to do here? I am going to take 39 patients will occur 6 times. Yes. So currently we store it as count of Jan 1, count of Jan 29, November 1, November 29 like that. Individually we are storing for each day. So next we are going to store it as count of days containing 39 patients. Number of days containing 39 patients is 6 days. Sorry, this is 6. Number of days containing 39 patients is 6 days. Okay, let us do that. So to do that, our array is going to be like this. Because guys, the count value always lies in the range. Number of patients in any day lies in the range 0 to 52. Number of patients in any day lies in the range 0 to 52. If you want, you can test that also. What I am going to do is, I'm just going to print patient count. When we calculate it, parallelly I'm going to print patient count so that you can verify it. Okay. So what is the patient count for all these days? Let us see that final count in a new line. Okay. Take a look at the output now. Test case will not pass, but just look at the values which we will have here. Okay. Look at the values 39, 38, 37, 36. The values are there. Yes. If you see all the values, sorry guys, I can't scroll it any slower. So just look at the values. If you see all the values, your least value that could be obtained is 0. We have a 0 here. The least value that could be obtained is 0 and the greatest value that could be obtained is 52. Okay, the greatest value that could be obtained is 52. Okay, so all the count values will lie within this range only. Within the range 0 to 52 we will have all the values. Clear? So instead of storing them separately, instead of having 365 data, I'm going to reduce our data. Okay, something like this. All values will be in the range 0 to 52, right? All values will be in the range 0 to 52. So what we'll do here is create an array of size 53, because an array of size 53 will have index from 0 to 52, right? So create a count array of size 53. So patient count array is going to be changed as size 53. Initially, we don't know the count value for any of the indexes. So initially, set the count value as 0. Clear? Since I'm reducing the data, initially count value is set as 0. Now what we'll do is, whenever I consider a date, for example, Jan 1st. For Jan 1st, using the calculation, I'll get the count as 39. For Jan 1st, you'll get the count as 39. What you have to do is go to 39th index and increase the count value. Clear? For Jan 1st, you get the count as 39. Go to that index and increase the value. So, when you calculate, you will get an answer. Right? You will get a value. I'm just writing it as val. So, when I use the formula, I will get the count. Count may be 39. So, what you have to do is, in patient count, go to that index. If your answer is 39, go to 39th index and increase the count value. Similar to a hash table. Okay. So, when you finish off this, your final array will be something like this. This will be the count value for all the 52 indexes. 52 occurs one time. See, 39 occurs 6 times. 38 occurs 6 times. Like that, we will know how many times I will have 0 patients. How many times I will have 52 patients. How many times I will have 39 patients. I can know all these data. Clear? So once I know all these data, you can do your calculations based on this data itself. So when I store my data like this, index represents number of patients. Am I right? This 39. 39 is nothing but number of patients. And what is this 6? 6 times. Array of index represents number of times we have the same count of patients. Clear? When I represent my data like this, index indicates the patients. Patients will range from 0 to 52. Index indicates the patients and array of index indicates number of times we will have that count of patients. Okay. So here, when you calculate, here we need the patients. How many patients I have? If I have patients less than non-TB, if I have patients less than 20, less than 30. So what you have to do here is, I'm just going to change the array values, guys. So patients. How many patients can you have? You can have 0 patients to 52 patients. We can have 0 patients to 52 patients. So less than or equal to 52. 52. Yes, this is my range. 0 to 52 patients. So whenever you should compare with the patients. Okay. So when you compare, wherever previously we used array value, here substitute it as patients, which is nothing but the index value. Okay. So now I have, for example, consider Jan 1st, guys. We are very familiar with Jan 1st. When I am working with Jan 1st, number of patients will be 39. So we will be working with patients as 39. We will be working with patients 39. I will do all the calculations and I will know the temporary income. Temporary income for 39 patients. As we discussed already for, okay, yes, income for one day with 39 patients is X. So I have income for one day with 39 patients as temporary income. Now we will have how many days? We will have multiple days. How will you know the number of times? Array of index will give you number of times of having the same input. Okay. So to this temporary income. Temporary income is for one day, guys. We are going to repeat the same thing for many days. But now how will we know the count? Using array value, patient count of patients. Okay. Using the array value, you will get it for all the days having the same count. Okay. So patient count of 39. Patient count of 39. Patient count of 39 will give you how many times we have 39 patients. If you have 6 times, multiply your income by 6, which is what I substitute with an index, because we need to work for all indexes, right? So this will be your final income. Okay. After you modify this will be your final income. Now if you think about it, starting from 365 values, our array has reduced to 52 values, 53 actually, 53 values, right? So optimization is done. You can do further optimizations if you have any ideas, that is also okay. So as I always say, don't just stick up to one code. Whatever I say is not necessarily the efficient solution. Yes, you can think on your own and you can come up with a better solution also. That is also totally agreeable. Clear? So let me compile this now. See if we have any errors. Okay, syntax error. What is missing? Days plus plus. So when you increase the value, patients plus plus. Okay, so here we have added an unnecessary slash in. That is the issue, I guess. So let me compile this now. Okay, sample case is passed. So this is my final code. I'm going to submit it. Yes. So we have completed the problem, guys. That's it. As I've said, you can think of any optimization method possible, whichever you're comfortable with. Okay. So if you have any doubts, please join us in the doubt clearing session. Thank you.